let me know if you can see the presentation.
Okay.
Perfect. So yeah, welcome everyone. I think this is Town Hall 18 or 17. I just need to double check that number. But yeah, thanks for joining the second session, the evening session. Well, for us. Yeah, so thanks very much for joining. It's definitely always nice to have everyone, for you to join and just come see what we've been busy with for the last month or so. If you're feeling probably like Luke and I am, it's probably, I'm not sure if it's felt very quick since the last town hall, but I think it's also just that feeling towards the end of the year where things just seem to speed up a bit. So thanks for taking your time and to join us today. Yeah, so it's not going to be, it's not a super long session. We have got some really nice some nice things to show you today. We're just going to go through and see if there's any feedback on the new Bootstrap5 SoftUI theme. I will just jump into the platform as well and just take you through and show you where that is if you're not sure yet or you haven't tested it out. So it's always good. We just want to see if there's any feedback from anyone that's tested it out or tried it out. The team's definitely been busy with the roadmap, and the big next focus, especially since we finished user roles, has been moving to Studio Phase 4. So Luke's going to take you through and just kind of give you a sneak peek of what himself and Matt have been working on, and then also just show you kind of what are the plans after that. Where do we see the functionality of Siteglide working with the new Studio version 2. Okay, so definitely some nice things to look at that Luke will take us through. And then I'm just going to briefly just discuss just around collaboration meetings with you guys. This is something that's, I think, been very important to us. It's always great to have these really good community discussions on the town hall, but I definitely always think there's more value in having these more kind of one-on-one meetings with you. So we'll just go through that and we'll talk about kind of if you want to book quarterly sessions or just reach out when there's any project that you're working on that you would like to collaborate or get some information on. And then, yeah, as normal, we'll just open it to the floor, discuss any items you're busy with, any projects, anything that's going on with your clients. And as I said, it's just a way for the community to share any knowledge or projects that they're busy with. Okay. So quickly, I'm just going to jump in. I'm just going to jump into the portal. So yeah, I think last month we introduced and we spoke about the new SoftUI theme. So like you can see here, we've launched the actual SoftUI theme. You've got a full landing page template as well. So this is definitely something that we're trying to improve. We do have the older Bootstrap themes that we will be kind of, that will fall away. But these new Bootstrap SoftUI themes are definitely, it's the themes built by Creative Tim. And these are just getting you up to date onto some, obviously, the new sort of themes. And then it's also going to help us in the future when, Luke will show just now on the studio side, how to get kind of the features, with Studio, working with the different themes, be that Bootstrap or Flowbyte that you're using. So, yeah, as I said, if you go here, there we go quickly. I'm just going to take you in quickly and have a quick little squiz. Give me one second. Sorry, I think my page wasn't loaded. Yeah, so very, very simple. If you go into the existing studio now, so this is where you'll see a bit of the changes that Luke will show as well. Okay, give me a second. So yeah, this will show you just some of the different layouts that you can drop in. So this is just a basic, the theme or the template. You can see here all the different layouts we've got. There we go. So you've got all the different themes. All the different layouts that you can pull in. I would recommend, if you have got any existing sites that are Bootstrap on the previous themes, I would definitely test this out. Let us know if you have any questions. We did have a question or two in the morning from one of our clients in Oz, just around she has got quite a few sites, and if there are any questions around moving across, just reach out to us. So yeah, I would test it out. It's something that's really quite a nice improvement. versus the previous one. But yeah, definitely have a look at it. Let us know if there's any questions or if there's anything that you notice maybe that's not working correctly, and then we can always look at it as well. I'm not sure if anyone on the call has tested out the new SoftUI theme at all. Perhaps when we discussed it last town hall. I think that was probably only Michael there last time. No, that's fine. So yeah, I would spend some time there if you have got some older sites on Bootstrap. But obviously, if you're on Flowbyte, you can stick with that as well. Okay. So yeah, so that's just talking about the Bootstrap SoftUI theme. What I'm going to do now is I'll just stop sharing, and then Luke's going to jump into some of the roadmap items for Studio. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Colin. Yeah, we did quite a long discussion on this in the earlier session, so obviously there'll be a recording of that as well. But I think this is quite a big one, quite an important one. So we'll go through it as much as people want to. And yeah, kick things off. So Studio's been on the cards for an overhaul for a little while. I've personally not been happy with it. There's been some things with it that just aren't as easy to use as they could be, and we've always wanted to take it quite a bit further in terms of what it could do. So we tried to fix things, and we realized that we needed to do more of an overhaul. So that's given us the opportunity to completely rethink it and look at what we can do and where we can take it. And I'll give you a glimpse. So what I'll do first of all is I'll show you a Figma sort of prototype of what it's going to look like and what will be available very soon. And then I'll show you a demo of it working, which you'll also be able to play with even sooner. So let's have a quick look. We jump between, if we go to Figma quickly. So you'll see here, we've actually we're going to do a bit of an overhaul and a refresh of the general Siteglide portal and admin UI just to clean it up a bit, finally get our sort of actual correct fonts in there, and just maximize sort of real estate and space, because you find sometimes you lose quite a bit of space with padding and that kind of stuff. So just giving you a bit of a glimpse. That hasn't changed too much, the left hand side, but we will try and have it so that it can stay closed. Well, you can already, but just have it looking a little bit nicer when it's closed. Main change really is on the top bar. It's a bit thinner, and we're going to move the breadcrumbs and the page name up to there because it just took up an unnecessary amount of vertical height at least. Tab's pretty much the same, just a little bit smaller and cleaner. And then this is an example of Studio that's going to be Studio V2 that's going to be available straight away. I'll in a minute also show you where our vision is going forwards with it. So this is really just about replacing the current functionality with a better editing experience, for probably more for your customers and just generally for editing. And then we're going to move more onto like the building experience and dynamic building as well. So yeah, just from an editing experience, you've got the structure on the left-hand side. That's going to become more and more relevant as we do building and dynamic, being able to sort of switch between different layers and working with those layers. It'll select where you are in the middle. You can also click those and move about. And then sort of going in order across the top, you'll be able to switch between desktop and tablet and mobile. We'll hopefully also let you set your own breakpoints on that, so you can kind of control per site for each client, so that it looks how you expect it to look for the various breakpoints. There'll obviously be some standard ones. Undo and redo, quite important to have those, so they're in there. Being able to turn on the grid lines just to see the actual sort of div structure, that kind of stuff, more from a technical perspective. A preview button so that you can get rid of the sidebars, and a full screen button, which is really useful actually. I'll show you that in the demo. And then where most of the power and functionality will be, and that's why I've wanted to get the design of this right long term, is over on this right hand side. So it's a real balance of flexibility and simplicity. So what we've tried to do is have a few different tabs, and this ties in really, really nicely with the release of user roles. What is it now? A few weeks ago, probably, maybe a month or two ago. So you've got full granular control of user roles, and we'll make sure that we put in as much granular control in for Studio as you want. So initially, the most obvious one would be whether you show just the general tab, or maybe you show layout and classes in the example. But you probably don't want to give classes and maybe even layout to your customers. You'd just rather they have just topography and background perhaps under general. So it's a good example of where you can fully customize the experience for different types of users. Again, within your team, you might give different roles to different people. And then properties will be very basic at first. It'll just be for things like alt tags, links, that kind of thing. But this can give us a lot of scope for doing some clever things with it, which I'll show you in a minute. And then finally, probably the most important one from a building perspective would be the insert button, where this is effectively like Toolbox from the code view, but from a visual perspective. So being able to drill into different types of content. For now, I'll show you sort of doing a static layout. So you'd see a list of different static layouts. This would scroll. So we've got scroll on both this right hand side and the main area, and then you can just drop in one of the sections from the library. So this is where, back to what Colin was talking about with SoftUI and Flowbyte, those are the two libraries that we are really focusing on. We want to give everybody a really good Bootstrap offering, because it's still obviously a huge framework, but we do also believe that Tailwind is a great option for many use cases and many types of agencies. So we've got Flowbyte fully built in there, especially when you're doing applications and maybe e-commerce and wanting maximum performance. So you'll have both of those options. I'll show you in a minute, but depending on if you've installed Flowbyte or SoftUI from the marketplace, you'll then see the corresponding layouts appear in here. We'll go and have a look at that in just a second. Yeah, so those are the main. This is the main design and functionality that we're going for in phase one. We want to get that released ASAP and replace the now sort of clunky older version. Any immediate questions? I can probably show you the demo, which will answer quite a few, I think. But do jump in if you want to.
You guys were talking about Formula One. This looks like a Mercedes to me.
Is that good
looks,
this year?
I like it a lot. I
Cool.
like how this is organized.
Good, yeah.
Like my brain. No, but it looks very nice.
Good to hear. The demo you'll see in a minute doesn't look quite as nice, but you'll see the same structure. So I wanted to show this first. I'll show you now the dynamic bit, which is where it gets interesting. And I think we'll actually need you guys involved throughout the whole process of trying to get the most out of it, because there's a lot of potential. If I just quickly jump into that. So this is not happening right away. It is something to start thinking about, mapping out, understanding how we overcome some of maybe the challenges and how we just structure it really well. But you'll see from here that you've lost the top sort of page tabs, because the concept here is that you would be able to go to Studio as its own area, and then within there you'd be able to pick the different pages that you'd want to work from. So it wouldn't just be pages either. You'd be able to click open or new and work on, say, a blog list view or any other kind of dynamic layout rather than just pages. And then using this as an example, and this is where the structure navigation comes in quite handy, is you would then, in theory, and this needs more thought, create your static structure. So let's say you had a title and then you did a div. You would then decide that you want to make this whole area dynamic. So you press a button somewhere to say insert dynamic area, and then you'd be able to set up how that could work. So it might be a case of choosing the type to be a module, blog, and go through all the settings that we currently have in Toolbox anyway. This is basically how you insert a module layout at the moment in Toolbox. It's just you'd be able to do it from here, and then that would effectively set up the section, but also the data for the editor to show. So what we'd want to do is, once you've set your dynamic variables, we would then be able to output the latest 3 blog posts, or actually, if you set certain category in a certain order, you would actually see them see that data specifically. And then you'd be able to go in at a card level and a sort of component level and control what appears there. So again, needs more thought, but I'm thinking something along the lines of either being able to copy a field value in that you already know, or write it in, or be able to click a button. I think I've realized I've broken this earlier, but ideally be able to click a button that brings up a modal to list out all the different fields that you might want to use. So really making the experience of, well, making it really easy to build out Siteglide functionality without having to know how it all works. You can literally go, well, I know I want a blog card, I want to put in the name, I want to put in the description, and whatever it might be. And obviously the other option is just to use static content. So if you don't press that button, then you'd effectively insert an image, a title, and a description, and you do the same on that card and that card. So it could be used as a blog, or it could be used as anything really. Let me just check if I have got that. No. Any immediate questions on dynamic? Because I can't show you that on the demo. I just want to kind of give an idea of where we're heading to with it. Cool. There's a lot that we can do. If I just jump back to here, let's say, we could really start thinking about how content sections could be used differently, for example. So they could be used visually going forward. So you could actually set clients up with specific areas that you want them to be able to reuse, or areas that they can edit and work with. So especially in conjunction with user roles, you could really build out quite specialist products or solutions where customers can only build landing pages, or they can only do a certain type of thing, and you can lock the rest of the product down to not be accessible to them. There's quite a bit there that we can start getting into once we've got this core structure right. I think what I'll do is I'll jump across to the demo so people can actually see it in action, but just keep this in mind in terms of the design. I think we'll definitely be sort of reaching out to people to get more feedback on UX and design. Just check the chat quickly. Helen's...
we've got a little one from Helen there. You want to read
it? So Helen's asked, will studio functionality ever be available in the web app module items fields? I think that's what I think we're talking about the same thing there, Helen. So if I go back to here, I think like this might be what you mean, down on the bottom right, where essentially you could grab the fields for that specific web app or module. So you could pick web app and pick your web app name, and then you'd see the available fields and you would be able to set them up in the layout. Hopefully that's what you meant, but that's exactly where I want to be heading with it. Making it really dynamic and easy to work with your existing web apps, modules, whatever it might be. And it goes without saying that this would work for marketplace modules as well. So if somebody's built a gallery module, you'd then be able to work with it in and change the design of it in Studio as well. I think, Tim, you mentioned at the very beginning, you're interested to hear more about the marketplace. I'll briefly show it in a minute, but yeah, effectively you can build themes, templates, modules, integrations, whatever really, put it in the marketplace, and then it will already work in various places. So in places like Studio, but will also work to make it even more accessible in various areas of the product. There's another feature we have called custom UI, where you can kind of build your own UI into various sections of the product as well. So you might find that you have a module that needs its own kind of custom interface. So you'd build out your own UI for it.
Mm-hmm.
back to Helen's question. In your example you're showing now, are you on a static page or within a web app? So it is a Figma file, DJ, but yeah, in terms of what we're looking at, this is a web app or module layout. But it could also be, this is the point, it could also be on a page. So you could be on the home page and you want to list the 3 blog posts. But I think what we would do is, let's say we were looking at the home page and you clicked on a dynamic area, we would probably have it open up a new page to edit the blog list for you separately, if that makes sense. So you would have lots of different files open effectively on the left hand side here, where you could jump between a page, which is the home page, and you could then go into the blog layout, the blog list view, let's say. I hope that answered that question. It's all a bit, it's been hard to get my head around even how to go about this. There'll be quite a lot that we work through and get your input on, I'm sure. But let's go to the moment of truth and try and do a live demo. So
fingers crossed, right?
Yeah, exactly. The reason I was a little bit coy earlier about timescales and release is technically it's available now. So if you go to alpha.siteglide.com, you can test out the new version, but I must stress that it is just, to be honest, it's for our testing just as much as anything else. Don't use it on a live site, just use it on a staging test site. And feel free to let us know any thoughts, feedback, bugs, but we probably are aware of like the most obvious ones is probably the best thing to say. I think we'll set up a new channel maybe in Discord or somewhere where people can collaborate on helping improve new studio and work together on it. But yeah, let's do a demo. So I'm in a Flowbyte site at the moment. I think I'll actually just really quickly show that concept, just so that everybody's aware from what Colin was showing of how you go about it. So if you were in Portal and you went to Marketplace, you could go to a category of template, let's say, and create a site from a template. And we've got 2 main tracks that you'd go down. You're typically either going to code in Tailwind or Bootstrap. Those are the 2 that we've gone with. There obviously are others. Let's say you're Flowbyte, you would click on one of these 2 and create a site from one of these templates. So this is a landing page template. It's just got like a really simple landing page with a form on it. And then this one is a marketing site. So this has got a bit more going on, like blog, events, FAQ, testimonials, that kind of stuff, all pre-set up. So you create a site from here. Same with Bootstrap. You do it from the SoftUI landing page that Colin mentioned earlier, which looks like this. Create your site, and then I'll show you both of those examples. So if we head over to the Flowbyte demo and we click Create Page, you'll now see the new studio. So I'm just going to create a page, put a template on it, click Save. Then if we click Studio, it should be recognizable from what I've just shown you in Figma, but obviously we've still got a little bit of work to do on getting all the styling to look right. But in theory, you can still hide or yeah, we're going to make all of this smaller, but you can keep that closed. And you've got the structure on the left, the main top bar here, and then sort of the editing capabilities over on the right. So the far right-hand one is the insert tool. Now, linking this again back to Marketplace, this is where you would come to add in any layouts that come with one of those themes that we've been talking about, so Flowbyte or SoftUI, and you just click into one of those categories, and these are some of the various Flowbyte layouts that are available, sections, layouts, whatever you want to call them, from the Flowbyte theme. So you can drop that in, and let's grab a few more. One thing we are working on is it's a little clunky in terms of putting in sections. So what I tend to do is just make sure there's a big, the green bar is full width. So as long as you find an area where the green bar is full width, that should drop in nicely. Over on the left-hand side, if you open up the body, you'll see that we've got different sections here. So reason that's showing. So I think I managed to put one inside the other, which is where we're gonna work on that a little bit. So I'm just gonna delete that for now, and I'll show you it again. Let's just fully start again on this. So you'll see here we've got body and we've got a couple of rogue sections. So let's delete those. So we're going to drop in the header and then have that open there. And then I'm going to drop in this one, let's say. As long as I put it there, you should see on the left that it's putting it outside. So that's now appearing here. And then if you wanted to, you could swap those over by dragging them or put it inside it, which I've done. There we go. So you'd be able to swap those over. That's now gone to the bottom. Let's swap those back. Again, there's little things that we're going to tweak there, but generally the editing experience should be a big improvement over what we currently have. You've got standard formatting. It's a little simpler here in terms of just got the absolute basics to work with, but then on the style tab, you've got a lot that you can do with typography down here in terms of alignment and fonts and all sorts of things. You'll hopefully notice that this is a bit crazy. There's a lot going on. It would be way too much for customers to sort of understand. So that's exactly why we've done the Figma approach, where we've, let me just go back to the simpler one, where we tried to really standardize and simplify the editing experience, that you've just got everything all in one place. But yeah, you should find that you can edit everything as normal. File manager's hooked up for images, so you can swap those images out. Let's put in football stadium. There we go. And yeah, we're working on links at the moment, making sure they're working as they should do, so that you can add your own links in. Hooked up to dynamic content from Siteglide as well. And background images, still a little bit of work to do there, but that's the phase 1 release, is to get this in a better place than the current one from an editing experience, with the ability to add in static layouts. And then obviously phase 2 and onwards would be working with dynamic content and any other ideas that crop up, essentially. Yeah, I'll just very quickly show that from a SoftUI perspective. It's exactly the same thing. We'll go and create a page. I'll call it exactly the same. That's got the SoftUI template on it already. Jump across the studio. I have tested this out on existing sites, by the way, and this is a conversation we had in the earlier call, where how well will it work with any site? I think we're going to have to get more feedback from people on that. I've tested it with a few. There are a few things that we do need to consider. Anybody using Cloudinary, for example, the images aren't going to load in here because they're loading externally. So there's a few things like that to consider, which we'll keep working through. But generally, it reads HTML, CSS, and Liquid, so it'll output it, and you should be able to work with it. Let's drop in a couple of layouts. So here you'll see that it's now showing the SoftUI theme. So if we can grab a heading section, let's grab one of these. Let's drop those in there. We can swap out a few images if we want to. Let's just put some of those in. And yeah, you can obviously edit the content as needed. And let's put in just a couple more sections. So I think earlier, if I had made a mistake and put it inside, we could have then actually moved it around here. We could have dragged a section inside or outside of another div. That's something you can play around with and perhaps give us any feedback on. And let's drop that section in there. Let's put it here for now. And then move it to the bottom. What else can we put in? Just another section quickly. Yeah, so this is another example really of just using the SoftUI theme. So have a play around. If you've got any feedback, keen to hear it, but we'll keep working to get this release done. And then hopefully tie up the user roles so you can control exactly what customers can do, because I'm sure you'll probably want to hide certain bits away. And any feedback would be really helpful. Oh, I didn't show you this quickly, just being able to drop it down to different devices just handy to be able to do that in the design view. Well, I haven't actually shown you that this all works, so let me just click save and we'll load a page. That's the page we've just created. And I'll do the same for the Flowbite one that we just created. So save and view that page. And that's all there. So yeah, any questions at all on any of it?
How do you log into the alpha?
It should be exactly the same credentials as you normally do. You just go to alpha.siteglide.com instead.
Yeah,
then,
I tried that. And it didn't seem to like that.
I think we might have to turn alpha on per agency. So I'll have a quick look at that and check whether for some reason you haven't got access, but we'll make sure you do.
Groovy. Thank you.
No problem. Do you think anybody have any feedback or comments on whether we're on the right track, sort of just getting static set up and working as best as possible for editing? Any comments or ideas on what you would like to see in the future?
I like where this is going. What happens though? I mean, is it gonna, like, if you edit a page, the code, code level,
Yeah.
will this read it back in, or is it probably doesn't check the HTML, that kind of thing? Or are you still, I mean, do you still have code editing capability, I guess is what I'm saying?
Yes, definitely. So it works the way it did before, where you can edit on either side and it will update. I think we just got to work out, I think you have to click off at the moment just to make sure it updates, but you'll see that then disappeared. And yeah, you can obviously work in the code view as well. And that would be the same from CLI. It will just literally load up the last save or the last edit when you click Studio.
That's cool.
In terms of like how you work with your clients, do you think this is because I feel like it's been a bit of a drawback for a while, that the editing experience for a customer hasn't maybe been good enough. Do you think this will help, and do you think you would rather give them less or are you keen to maybe give them some more functionality?
Less is always better, in my opinion, sometimes, because they have the tendency to break things. At least my clients do. But I have a few clients who would like this approach compared to some other, what's happening now. But you're saying that we can also give them levels of control, so they're not breaking things will be a lot more difficult depending on how much we give them.
I mean, in theory, and this is where we all need feedback and to agree with you guys, in theory, we could hide the whole of the left bar if that wasn't helpful, and the whole of the right bar, and all they could do is basic formatting with this, in theory, and everything in between. We can let you turn things on and off as needed.
Yeah, I'm thinking more in terms of styles, when they're creating styles. I want them to use the styles that are there rather than creating their own style, and then we have 50,000 styles, and then they're, hey, we want to change the color of the header, and it's like, well, you've got, style H1.2 on this one and style H1.3 on this. The purpose of a style, so it changes it all over the site. So that things like that would be what I would want to do, but I'm sure we could do something like that.
Definitely, you'll be able to control it, but I also think that's where things like the static layouts come in, because your best way of controlling them is giving them things, I think, that they can then work with. So probably turning off style, and
that probably answers that question.
And leaving them to have this maybe works, but we'll make it really granular, and then you've got total control.
Cool.
Something else that you mentioned from that I thought of.
I think the one thing that clients are probably used to is when we're adding like liquid includes. Usually it would have the liquid include kind of text with the IDs and everything. But obviously with the future plans will allow us to not just drop the include in. We'll have more of a visual kind of view of web app items or module items like we showed.
Yeah, thanks for that, Colin. I wanted to show that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the moment, you guys probably know it just literally dumps it in as text. They can't do anything with it, but it looks ugly, and we've never been happy with that. So we definitely want to at first probably turn that into a nicer looking box that says dynamic content here, with either a link to take them off to the relevant module or web app, or in theory, when we get to this kind of concept, it would open up that layout in the file manager here, and they would get to see it visually. So yeah, we definitely want to improve the way liquid and dynamic content works and is shown. Something else I forgot to mention, well, I mentioned it in Figma and I didn't actually show it. Full screen, I think that's really useful here, just being able to actually get a really good full view of it. If you press preview as well, it takes away the right-hand side bar, so you get far more of a sort of an idea of what it would look like as a full page. We can probably get it so that it hides this one as well, depending on what makes the most sense. As I mentioned, this turns on like the sort of grid lines to give you an idea of all the different divs, and it helps you sort of select things specifically. But we have that turned off by default, and I think clients would probably never want to see that. Forwards and undo and redo is quite helpful as well. Let's just show that quickly. Don't know what I did last, but yeah, you can undo all of those steps. Yeah, I think that's we will need feedback on maybe some of the editing experience and anything that anybody's struggling with, or any integration with Siteglide that's missing, but we're pretty confident it'll be a big improvement over the current editor, and hopefully really nice to work with. Yeah, I think that's everything from me on Studio. If anybody thinks of anything, just ask, but I'll leave it there.
Perfect. Let me open my side and we'll just finish off a little bit on this side. Give me one second. Yeah, so just continuing with the agenda. This was something I said earlier, is that something that Luke and I have discussed, and it's definitely something that I think would be a lot of value to you guys as agencies, and so definitely reach out to us. I think we want to set up more collaboration settings with you, just to discuss any ideas, any projects that you're working on. I definitely think it'll help us, and especially me, understand your business and also your sort of clients that you kind of work with. And I definitely think it also just keeps you guys up, top of mind when it comes from features, any improvement updates. We can always go and look at the different features if there's a question about it. And then also during those sessions, we can always just have things like discussions around account questions, the products. If you having any struggles with, maybe how you're selling products, or the way, the billing's working. And at the same time, if there's any sort of, knowledge gaps around certain parts of the product, or perhaps even just parts of the product that you're not using. So yeah, ideally, I think this is always quite a nice thing to do quarterly. So do reach out if you would like to set that up with me. I will reach out as well. But at any time, if you do have any kind of project specific assistance you need, that's something that's currently ongoing, that we can always fit that in ad hoc as well. Okay. And then, yeah, I think just a big happy Thanksgiving to all the American clients, anyone who's watching the recording, and to DJ and Michael. I hope you have a good Thanksgiving with family and everything. And then, yeah, we can just open the floor to any questions or any discussion points you would like to bring up with us.
AI search.
Yeah. I mentioned it last time.
Dig the knife in.
Do you mean after our chat last time on it, or?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I have a customer who's wanting to revamp the search. Josh knows, he's helping, and we were looking at. Forget the name of the product, but I guess Platform OS didn't particularly like it, because I guess there was
Algolia.
And so they're kind of moving towards AI search, I guess. And so I'm just wondering, how is that, is Siteglide gonna just start? Is that how it's gonna work with Siteglide now, and how soon can we?
So yeah, I've talked to Gary about it because I know he's discussed it with you, and also Matt Jones about it from Siteglide side, I guess. We just need a little bit more documentation from Platform OS on the Elasticsearch views, which is the kind of key feature we need. It's all done, it's all built. It just needs a little bit more explanation, which they're working on. So we've had to play around with it, and it is the way, well, it's the way we want to go, and I'm pretty sure it's the way we will go, because they've integrated it heavily into the product. It doesn't make any sense to use a third party if we can avoid it. We're just still a little bit in the evaluation stage, but it's looking really good. I think I very quickly showed you one of their demos.
Yes, you did. I saw, I think, the last town hall we had.
Yeah, so it's really powerful. You can do, let me pull that up quickly. I think that's worth having a quick look at. Sorry, just 1 second. I think I have it just here. Yeah, this is the one. Sorry, 2 seconds and I'll share it.
Let me stop. There we
go. So there are limitations, I guess, let's say, with the current search and things you can and can't do easily. This gives you a good idea of the range. So hyphenated or special characters in a search can be tricky. So this is a good example of one of those. So if you have it set to fuzzy, then it would find that. If you have it on exact, then it does as well. Oh no, yeah, so the rest wouldn't find that. So you've got a lot of control over what you do. If we set that back to fuzzy, and then you can filter down. Obviously, if you just did delta, then that one would disappear as an example. And if you did all, then it would show. And if we just type in usability, I can't think what other items are in the search, but let's type in, let's just try and not have any filter on that for a second. So there's 15 items. If we type in something that's across a couple of them, legacy, yeah, legacy. That brings up a few, and then you could obviously filter it down from there. So this is more about the search functionality, which is where we kind of need the Elasticsearch views concept. Then the AI search is hooking that up with, at the moment, ChatGPT, but I guess any kind of MLM tool, and LLM, sorry, and yeah, so there's something we're testing out on that as well. So yeah, we can move forwards with that. I think if you had any kind of urgency on a project level, it's something that could be sped up if needed. I think we would just need to work with Platform OS a little bit before they've got all of their documentation finalized, I guess.
So is it this? There's two sections to it. There's the AI search function, which uses ChatGPT, and then also the regular search function. And you're saying for both of those, they don't really have the good documentation?
Mainly on this one, so the search functionality itself, but I think you would kind of want to do both in theory at the same time. I think because you'd probably want to control. Maybe not. Maybe let's get a discussion going on this separately. But the AI one could be done pretty much immediately, I think, and it just needs a bit of discussion and mapping out and helping you with it, I think.
Okay.
I think both could. Just probably need to get the ball rolling on it. Cool. I think in terms of it being a product and something that's a feature, it's going to take a little bit longer, but there would be no issue in trying to do it for a project if it was urgent. Cool. Any other questions? I noticed you're on the call actually, Josh. If you wanted to clarify anything on the search side of things, let me know. You might know a bit more.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to look at the views as of yet, but it is something. Once the documentation comes out, I'm going to be very excited to get in and get a proper understanding of how it works. Because from what I've heard, it should be a game changer. Really, it's one of the things that needed addressing in the platform. And so it's good to.
Yeah, and I've kind of told my client that just there's something coming. Just trust me on this.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it is there.
He's very particular about how things are searching and analytics and stuff like that. But we've kind of modified a lot of the search function on one of the sites. Site Gurus has. And he just wants more, and so we kind of ran into a little bit of a wall. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't go the Algolia route because. There shouldn't be any need to. If it's something that needs to start soon, then more than happy to get the discussion going.
Okay.
It's always good to have a real project to kind of work through it on as well. So it could be handy.
Yeah. I still haven't heard back from ICIMS yet, Michael.
Okay, I'm going to give you my access. I'll do that after.
Yeah, sounds good.
We can't met these guys. That's a whole other thing we don't have to get into. All right.
Oh, one more
Josh
thing
in
I
the
was going
house.
Sorry.
Josh.
I'll go for it, DJ. Sorry.
No, I was just saying hi to Josh because this is one of the rare times that I get to speak with him in all of his busyness.
Thanks. Anything else from your side, Luke?
I was just going to show one more thing very quickly, if I can find it again. We've been working on e-commerce layouts for the SoftUI theme. And if I can find it among my million tabs, I'll open it up. Just 1 second. It came up earlier. Nick and John from the Website Success team were asking about e-commerce updates. We've done quite a few recently with like product copy and a few other things, but we've got a few more on the list, and obviously we've been working through this, so I just wanted to show you it. 1 second. We actually, at the end of the discussion, we sort of all agreed that Town Hall isn't necessarily the best place to delve into something in detail. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a workshop mainly centered around e-commerce as the main topic, but obviously people can discuss anything, where we can kind of go through e-commerce, get feedback. It's one of those things where obviously there's some minimum requirements and then there's some extra nice to haves, and we want to kind of work through that with you. It's always hard from a product perspective to be in the trenches, if you like, in terms of the actual projects, know the frustrations and what could be better. So I think this workshop is a really good way of doing that, and just making sure we even are all aware of the priorities. Let's ideally hear the problems, work through solutions together, and then prioritize them in terms of importance was what we discussed earlier. Let me just pull this up very, very quickly to give you an idea of improvements there. So this is SoftUI e-commerce layouts. Now, it's not just SoftUI related. So we're actually overhauling, we're trying to do this to overhaul e-commerce from we've got the old demo site, which is very, very outdated on the old Bootstrap framework. So we want to update that and have a really good demo offering both on SoftUI and Flowbytes. But we also, at the same time, want to try and understand, where e-commerce can be improved. And that's where I think this workshop will come in. But just to show off a couple of things that Matt Jones have been working on this side of things is, I don't know if you're aware of a sort of live updates feature that's part of Site Builder, but there's JavaScript that works across kind of loads of different areas of the platform with live updates. So you can kind of do really nice filtering just by clicking rather than having to search or anything like that. And then, just been working through the various functionality to try and improve it. doing a better sort of notification when you add to cart rather than the horrible sort of browser ones. Jumping through to a product quickly, looking at how we can do better sort of attributes and imagery on attributes. I'm pretty sure they change if you switch between them. All the images change. Looking at tags, also looking at sort of tabbed information as well within the product description. Just going through quickly a new sort of improved cart and looking at how we can improve functionality there, and a checkout that's a little bit more sort of Stripe design wise. Obviously we can keep working on these, but yeah, gives you a bit of an idea of where we're going with it. But I think this workshop will help us kind of map out any remaining improvements. Anything particular on e-commerce that anybody's struggling with?
Yes, me.
Sure.
Hi to everybody. I'm pretty new here at Town Hall because I'm coming over from another system and just trying to get familiar with Siteglide, and I'm still a learner. And everything is a bit different, but one of my big sites which I would like to migrate is this e-commerce site, which has a complex functionality in terms of it's not selling physical objects, it's selling courses. And obviously there are different mechanisms at place. For instance, you can only sell, you can sell like 10 t-shirts, but you can only sell that one course to that one user one time. So after that, it needs to be locked for that user. All these kinds of little UI things I'm dealing with at the current state of the site, and I would like to bring over to Siteglide. Like happy to talk about all of this. Maybe there's also something inspiring for you guys in terms of like functionalities. Like we also sell video on demand on that side and do like certification. It's basically about doctors like getting video on demand courses and then getting certified, automatic certification. So they have to answer questions, do multiple choice tests, and then get their certificate right after they took the test. So that's quite efficient, and I'm looking forward to see how that could be done on Siteglide. I see lots of potential, like looking forward to that.
Definitely, I think that would be great to discuss in the workshop. There's quite a few people who've done various different projects that are complex, but some overlap. Devon, who's not here, I think he might be joining. He's got a very complex courses related site with e-commerce, with all sorts of things going on there. So I'm sure he'd be up for joining the workshop and discussing those kind of things. So I think DJ, you've got a few that are.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Josh.
Ariel,
No,
and Josh, probably. Yeah. Ariel is very, very complex. We've got Matt made a custom box calculation algorithm that takes the size of the product that is added to the cart, compares it against available box sizes, and then sends it off to calculate the shipping price. So yeah, quite a bit of complexity going on there as well.
That's awesome.
And you've also got Pro Tools certified as well, and Shepherd School. That's two good examples of like digital sales. And yeah, you do certification through Pro Tools certified as well, don't you?
Yeah. That's done through Avid. So they come to the site, they buy a particular course, they watch the videos that set them up for success for taking the Avid certified test. So it does work in conjunction with your Avid portal. So they are kind of two separate solutions there. You know, the website that we built is for watching the certification videos. They take that information from those videos to go over to the Avid portal to take the or to get their certification, but the test is proctored by the Avid certified instructor. So it's kind of like a little hybrid situation. It's not all virtual, not all automated, but you know, we've automated as many parts of it as we could, you know, that kind of thing.
So is there some kind of API at place to communicate between the two platforms?
No, mostly because it's a proctored exam that has to take place. He runs it every Saturday at 10 a.m. So, depending on what side of the world you're on, they have to coordinate sometimes, when that test is taken, but it's done through Zoom. And it has to be that way. The instructor has to proctor the exam of these students. That's one of the Avid requirements, actually. So that's why that piece is not automated or connected to anything. It's very similar to registering for a class that you would go to a building and sit down at a desk and attend. The difference is they're doing the teaching part in the videos that we're serving up on the website that we built, and then they're proctoring the exam over Zoom for that kind of test taking part. Once the instructor gets the students' results from the exam, if they passed, which they pretty much always do, he sends that notification on to Avid. Avid generates the certificate for the person in their portal. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of valuable information to share when we have this workshop. So I'm working on some of the information, and we'll send out some comms on by email or Discord, just to let everyone know when we're looking to do it. But I think it's great, because I think that's what, like Luke said, sometimes these town hall sessions we get into a bit of a topic, but we haven't always got the time to really deep dive into it. So I think having these workshops is going to be really useful, just to understand what solutions which people in the community implement, and how can that be used in a similar project. So I'm definitely keen to learn a lot from you and everyone in the community as well. Yeah. Great. I think, what is it? Just on the hour. I think we've finished perfectly. So we're not going to keep you all not for too much longer. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining. The recordings will be ready and out by tomorrow. So you can always rewatch them, and they'll be published to Discord as well as on the events page, and also we'll send out an email to everyone. Perfect.
Brilliant.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Good to see
Thanks, guys.
Good to see you.
Have a good week, everybody.
Thanks.
you too.
Ciao.
Nice to meet you, Tillman.
Nice to meet you too.
Welcome to the team.
See you soon.